Hare, welcome all of you for the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Today's Gitamrita. Let us begin with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakchu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in the previous class we have been discussing about Karma Yoga, and I think we discussed till this one, that how work with detachment does not give us any results, right? So this is a very important point to be discussed, that how in Karma Yoga we do our work which is meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord. Then it becomes worship of the Supreme Lord, right? So there are so many ways of yoga. Yoga basically means to connect with God. So when we do work which is for the Supreme Lord, for pleasing the Supreme Lord, then that work also can bring us to the platform of yoga, right? So, and that work has to be performed without, a desire for fruitive gain. So this is to be understood very properly, because all of us have got different abilities to work, right? So we don't have to change anything, only we have to do it for God, right? Like Arjuna was fighting for God, right? Someone can paint for God, someone can cook for God, someone can make any building for God, someone can teach for God, someone can sing for God. So all the different abilities and work can be done with a purpose of serving God. And when we work for God, then there is no karma bandhana, but rather it is liberating, mukta sangha samachara. So we discussed till now, and I think we also discussed the example of a soldier. When he's killing on behalf of a state, he gets rewards and there's no punishment for killing. But when he kills his neighbor, he is punished by the state. So the work itself is not creating bondage. It is the purpose, the region, the consciousness with which the work is performed. And I think we also discussed about Janak Maharaj's feast and the great lesson he derived from there, right? So how although he's engaged in all his duties as a king, but he is not at all attached to the different things, but he's doing it as service to God, and he's always remembering God in that way. So there was another story, but we'll not discuss that. So let us discuss this one, that Arjuna had a question, like many people, that this war is a ghastly thing, right? It is such a violent activity, and by doing this war I will be creating so many sinful reactions on myself, because killing involves so much of sin in general. So he's thinking that by doing all this I will incur so much of sin, especially because I'm fighting against my teacher Dronacharya and my worshipable grandfather Bhishma and so many other respectable superiors and other soldiers. So I will incur sin. But because he's doing for the satisfaction of Lord Krishna, as Lord Krishna says here, Yagya arthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tad artham karma kaunteya mukt sangha samachara. If you do the activity for pleasing the Supreme Lord, then there is no bondage. So when we do something for pleasing Supreme Lord Krishna, then there is no bondage. Supreme Lord is Supreme Lord Krishna himself. He is the Supreme Personality, as is addressed in throughout the Gita as Bhagavan, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So how is this war pleasing? How this is a sacrifice, yajna? So in yajna, generally we offer oblations, different oblations into fire. The fire represents the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So these oblations are offered to Lord Vishnu, the purpose of satisfying him, pleasing him. So here, the battle of Kurukshetra is like the whole Yajna Kunda, and in which Arjuna is going to offer the different oblations. What are these oblations? The life of the Kaurava soldiers, right? And Arjuna's anger is like the fire, which will burn all of them into the Yajna Kunda. And using his arrows, he is, sending them to the Yajna Kunda, right? And who is becoming satisfied? Who is the beneficiary of Yajna? It is Lord Krishna, right? So in this way, this war also is a yajna for satisfying the Supreme Lord Krishna, right? So in this way, Arjuna is doing activity, although it is so ghastly, but it is non-different from yajna technically. So when we also do some activity for pleasing the Supreme Lord, then it is to be considered equally, uh, equally, you can say, um, beneficial for us as we perform yajna, because in this age it is not possible to perform such huge yajnas with ghee and all the different paraphernalia. But there's one yajna which is recommended in the shastras, in the scriptures, for Kali Yuga. And what is that yajna? Because in Kali Yuga there is no ghee available, and all the different paraphernalia, qualified brahmanas for performing such yajnas. And so therefore in this age the yajna which is recommended is Sankirtan yajna, that is the chanting of the holy names together, right? Congregational chanting of the holy name. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually introduced this system of Sankirtan yajna. All the devotees would assemble and they would chant very loudly and dance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is Sankirtan Yajna, right? So we don't need any money for doing this Sankirtan Yajna, but it is very satisfying to the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna means we are addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna and his energy, Srimati Radharani. So, okay. So, yes. So, then all living entities, actually, all human beings, are meant to perform these yajnas, because we get so many things from the Supreme Lord, and when we give it back to him, that is sign of gratitude, and then the mutual exchange makes us happy. So when Lord Krishna actually created this universe, he created a system of yajna by which all living entities can be prosperous and happy. So we get all the different, material facilities, like we get rain, we get, sunlight, moonlight, air, vegetation, gold, all these different things we get from the demigods, right, who are like the representatives of the Supreme Lord. So if we get them, our duty is we can use them for our needs, our satisfaction, but we should return them back in form of yajna, right? And in this way, the cycle, both the devatas and the representatives, empowered representative of the Supreme Lord, as well as the living entities, will be happy and prosperous. So, yeah. So this is the cycle of sacrifice, right? Krishna gives Vedas. In Vedas, we are given direction how to perform different yajna. When we perform yajna, the demigods send all the different means of prosperity like rain and all the natural products. And with those, what happens? We get grains, and that actually feeds the entire, all living entities, all human beings. So it is our duty now that we should offer it back in form of yajna to the Supreme Lord. So this is the cycle of sacrifice which can make all of us happy. It is a sign of gratitude, right? We're getting so many things. One thing we should understand, that without the mercy of God, we cannot produce anything, right? We can think that we are producing bread in the factory, but the ingredient for bread, the rice, or you can say the wheat, is not produced by scientists. It is produced because of rain, sun, land, these things, which are all given by God. We cannot produce any of them, right? So therefore, when we offer it back to in form of a yajna, then it is sign of gratitude. We develop our love for God and go back to the spiritual world at the end of our life. That is the purpose of the civilization, the whole material manifestation. So the yajna which we can perform in this age is Sankirtan yajna, which is very easy to perform and it does not cost anything. So therefore, all people are recommended that they should come together and chant the holy names of God together in their own homes. It does not cost anything, but the gain is very great. One develops one gets purified first of all contamination, and also he develops his dormant loving propensity for God, right? And so that there's so many things to discuss. We'll discuss remaining things in the next class. So thank you all very much for joining today. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.